Hi everyone. Welcome back to another review. Today's review is Titan AE. It's an animated film by, let's see, 20th Century Fox. This movie was directed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman, I meant to say, sorry. This movie is an animated sci-fi adventure. Titan AE, right? A science fiction film that combines traditional animation with computer generated images. Titan A takes place in the distant future after Earth has been obliterated by a mysterious alien race known as the Dredge. Kale is a human teenager who has been given a mysterious map by his father, leading him on an unforgettable journey. Kale is played by Matt Damon. Kima, right, the love interest, is played by Drew Barrymore. Though it's not really canon, but whatever. Yeah, John Leguizamo plays the goon. Let's see, Nathan Lane plays Preed. Ron Perlman voices Professor Sam Tucker, and Jim Brewer voices the cook. If anybody who's never heard of Jim Brewer, he's from Half Baked. He's that comedian. He's a very funny guy. Yeah, the movie may have some like great visuals, but the story feels like a cut and paste job for other science fiction movies. Let me explain in detail what that means. This animated science fiction adventure is packed with imagination, heart, and epic sense of scale. The story is exciting from beginning to end. Voice acting is excellent, and the script keeps the adventure moving with plenty of memorable moments. The biggest weakness is the pacing. The story races from one event to the next, leaving little time to develop its characters or build stronger emotional connections between them. Sorry. It often feels like there was enough material for a much longer movie. Visually, the film is a mixed bag. Traditional 2D animation still looks charming today, but the CGI has aged quite poorly. The early 3D effects now look dated and don't blend naturally with the hand drawn animation, making the visual style feel inconsistent. Even so, the creativity, thrilling adventure, and heartfelt story easily outweigh the technical shortcomings. It's an ambitious animated science fiction film that deserves to be remembered, even if time hasn't been to kind of all of its visuals. But to be honest, the story is serviceable, but the visuals are like genuinely bad. There's like half a dozen different art styles, and they all clash. CGI elements don't even match up with other CGI elements, let alone the drawn stuff. I mean, it's still a fun watch though, but it was definitely flawed. The last film directed by the legendary Don Bluth may have some amazing mixture of CGI, hand-drawn animation, stellar voice cast, and a fantastic opening, but it's so generic and it feels like it's like multiple science fictions all in one. Like I said, it's an okay film, but it's an okay film. The story is kind of basic and predictable. The visuals are good in most scenes, mainly the outer space ones. Like, but there's like a weird mix of hand drawn animation. CGI, it could look bad at times. The characters are uninteresting. So some of them are uninteresting and kind of bland. It's not a bad film, but I couldn't get invested in these characters, some of these characters, or the story that much. Fox Animation Studios, right, a production company you be forgiven for not having heard of, released Titan AE in the year 2000, and then prominently shut down with most of its assets being purchased by the corporate vacuum cleaner that is the Walt Disney Pro Company. It's a blend of 2D hand-drawn animation and looks good for the time, but it's now comically dated CGI. I enjoy the story about a rogue who's giving purpose and light in his life when he's tasked with finding a ship that can save humanity. There's many story elements, including betrayals that have been done numerous times before, so nothing is especially surprising. And the romance between the leads start off way too quickly and never becomes engaging. The voice cast has some massive names who do their best in elevating the material. It's less than an hour, half long, never feels boring. Does have some impressive visuals, especially the sequence set in an ice field. The soundtrack is quintessential early 2000s, and the folks like me who were around, well, barely at the time. I was just a little kid when I saw this. Certainly appreciate the nostalgia. You're not missing much if you don't watch it, but if you do, it'll sure give you something worth memory. Yeah. Yes, yeah, the CGI is a little too dated for me to get into. Only the story is what I remember. Um, Jesus Christ, Jason Bourne and Fiora from League of Legends. Watch as they create Earth to electric boogaloo while headbanging to straight bangers like it's my turn to fly at the end is over. Would not watch with children because it is highly pornographic. Um, like I said, it's fun enough science fiction adventure with the great animation, but it doesn't do much outside of stringing together a bunch of space operas cliches. So only some cool idea in it. Um, yeah, like I said, it's a very bland, uninspiring story. The visuals are decent, but that's not enough for me to like save this generic science fiction movie. I mean, the story and the characters like pull me through its familiar frontier. Still, again, only good for its stunning animation and hand drawn. I mean, the only reasons I can see that the critics hate this movie is that it's not very original. It has plenty of cliches, but I think they are getting that it's fun. They're forgetting that it's fun. It's not the most family friendly, but it's quite enjoyable with clever dialogue, even a little bit of heart. Beautiful animation, but a predictable story. I mean, it's funny that nobody quite remembers Titan AE, which is bad because this is a titty little animated science fiction. Titan AE is a science fiction animation flick consisting of fantastic visuals and not a good story, with about a young man who has to find a hidden spaceship in order to find the Overlord aliens. It's a middling affair, to be honest. The pacing lags about the visuals are the reason to commend the makers of this film. As for Dan Bluth, right? Dan Bluth, gave us incredible animated movies like The Land Before Time and American Tail, so on and so forth. Um, Secret of NIMH. Maybe I've seen some of these movies before, but I actually heard that this Titan E was a massive failure. It totally bombed. It was a complete failure that it didn't make it. It didn't do so good when it first launched. I mean, this movie bombed. It did a it was a flop. Sadly, it was kind of a flop. Is a reason why a lot of people forgot about Titan AE. You know, like I said, I like the cast. Matt Damon, Nathan Lane. John, whatever his name is. I can't pronounce that guy's name. Like Uzama, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, but the story doesn't do it for me. It's just completely bland and generic. Some of the material in this movie is something that has been done multiple times already, so it's nothing new. And this movie absolutely bombed. This did not succeed at all. It was kind of a low budget movie. One of Don Bluth's least, one of Don's most disappointing movie to ever give us. Yeah, so I mean, despite the strong cast, you have some enjoyable science fiction premise, like the wealth of promise is hard to argue as far as Lost animated great. You know, individual moments that are extraordinarily rich in space opera bravado. The film has, as a whole, is simply too stiff and too awkward. Flat characters, flat animation, a bland rock soundtrack. Titan AE might as well be Titanic AE, as in the ship that sunk, not the movie that scored. Animated soap opera shoots for the stars but runs for out of gas. The age-old plot of good versus evil is so standard that the only thing best films can warp and bend the idea into a fascinating story. It's not a great movie by any means. It's just not. Don't even exhibit the visual fervor event in the Star Wars. It continually crashes and burns on its own banality. Almost every plot point it is treated with such grim portentousness, portentous, portentousness. I meant to say. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Any and all vitality is sucked right out of the production. Nice, sincerely, miserably, storytelling. None of these protagonists have any more depth than video game characters. Titan targets teens, but misses it just misses the mark. It just has problems in pacing, storytelling, character definition, ill conceived and over ambitious animation blowout. Gorgeous It has gorgeous picture painting with like nothing new to say, where nowhere new to go. I was a little bored in 2 minutes flat. Yeah, I mean, an ambitious animated film that at least attempts to aim for something different, but it's like impaired by some hack hackneyed plots. The plot contains not one original idea. As in every film Don Bluth has ever made, Tiny E sets up for expectations for dramatic payoffs that never really come. Lacks of a sense of originality or fun. Plays like most expensive Bon Jovi video ever made. Yeah, maybe it is worth the goofy characters and the weak story for the effects and action sequences. It's one of those children's movies that is made for especially dim or easily fooled children. Such drag. Um, yeah, so the sci-fi cartoon is suggestive of nothing so much as Saturday morning TV or anything like that. Like the story tries audience patience with stilted dialogue, stock characters, and plot elements that have seen more miles than Millennium Falcon. What we were left with is lots of pretension, but little genuine tension. Yeah, this is not. It's maybe a hit or miss to me. I don't really. I'm not saying it's the worst movie or anything. It's just not. It's just super bland and super. With the most weakest plot I've ever watched. Yeah, I don't understand why I rewatched it back in June, for the nostalgia. I think it's completely not worth my. It's something I'm never gonna see again because not everything was good back in the day. Not everything I used to watch was good back then. So I say pass. But if you think it's, or if you just want to watch it because of the goofy characters with a weak plot, then go ahead. Have fun. Anyway, this is my review for Titan AE. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll be back with another video. See ya.